Today I'll be talking about windmills and their not so positive effects on the environment. Windmills aren't a new idea. They've been around for a long time. Early windmills date back to 2000 AD when they were used by Persians first to pump water. Not too far away from there they were being used to grind grains. They have since been used on every continent and can be used nearly anywhere, as opposed to other renewable sources of energy, which are often bound to water. Windmills also don't use water, which is pretty unique in the power generation world. And windmills actually produce over 10% of America's power. If they're so proven, where did this technology go wrong? People began to notice things changing after windmills became a commonplace in America. There were dead birds where there didn't used to be. They're pretty noisy. It's never dark if windmills are around due to their anti collision lights. The power costs went up, and the farmers began to notice that their land wasn't as good as it once was. On the right, there is a picture of a windmill that's not even halfway through its lifespan. It's already streaked in oil. If it's been spraying that much down the tower, it's been going on the fields around it too. Picture in the bottom left shows a windmill graveyard where all the old pieces go because they're not recyclable like their green future says they're supposed to be. And in the top right, you can see they really can just mess up a beautiful landscape. Where do windmills go when their lifespan is over? Well, depends who you ask. If you look at the windmills websites, they say they are majority the majority of them is easily recyclable. And that's kind of true. The part they don't tell you is the blades, which are on average 170 feet long, are made out of fiberglass. And right now, their best solution for recycling those is burying them. This is a picture of a huge windmill graveyard in Texas. There's also one in California. And right now, they just bury them. That's their best economical and ecological solution. Seems like the economics are getting heavily involved on this. Sometimes they do rebuild them, but the blades still end up in the same place. So, what about the animals? Humans are affected by the sound, the light. The planet's affected by the windmills, the blades just rotting away in the dirt. What about the animals? Animals on the land, sea, and air are affected by windmills. Bats are often whacked out of the sky during their migrations, and geese and eagles, many different kinds of dead birds have been observed caught in the spinning windmill blades. It also messes with the barometric pressure and can cause many issues with their bats, especially their location. They have a hard time knowing where they are when their winds are being all churned up. In the ocean, their effect on wildlife is huge. The towers have bases that go 60 meters deep sometimes into the ocean floor, and they transmit the deep grinding sounds into the water where it affects animals such as whales because they can't communicate any longer. On the land, the effects aren't quite as uh, common, but the access roads can cause uh, migration issues, and some animals suffer because of that. Hopefully, you can see that windmills aren't quite as great as they're always chalked up to be. Here are my sources, and there's just one more picture that shows that sometimes things aren't always as they appear.